This isn't my ex, it's my best friend's ex. She and I have been friends for years and now live together. We reside with my parents, who adore her like their own daughter. I obtained her permission to post this. My friend, 30F, came to the US from Latin America at 19 as a student. She also started dating her ex, 29M, after many years of hanging out with each other both during vacations and online. I knew them both since high school, and they seemed good together. She tried to convince him to move in together a few years before their breakup. He was living with his parents, who wanted him to leave. At this point, she had already finished college and had a job in the US that granted her a visa. He had quit college and worked part-time. From what I can gather, he didn't want to leave his parents' place because of free food and no rent. So instead, she asked me if I wanted to move with her so we could afford a bigger place. I said yes, and we moved together, adopted a cat and a dog, and pretty much became Grace and Frankie. Around the start of the pandemic, things became difficult for them. This is what I was told and what I saw. They never talked or hung out or anything. I was going through a breakup at that time myself, so I wasn't really on top of things since I had my own issues, but my friend cried so much. She didn't even get a happy birthday. After a year of no contact, she assumed the relationship was over. She changed all her social media to single, which he could see, took him off her emergency contacts at work and her doctors, and just moved on with her life. This year, my stepdad's health has gone downhill, and my mom needs help caring for him. She works full-time as a therapist. I work from home, and my job is very flexible. So I suggested the idea of all of us living together, and I'll care for my dad. Eventually, I'll care for my mom too. My mom loved the idea, and asked my bestie if she wanted to move with us too so we could all be together, and also because at this point, I can't see myself not being in the same house as her. We've come to terms with being single ladies. Heck, we've joked that one of us should adopt, and we've become a parent/aunt dynamic. And now the joke is more serious since I'm considering it, and she's incredibly supportive. No, we're not dating. She's straight, I'm bi. We're just incredibly close after all the BS we've lived through together. We found the perfect house, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, with enough space and a yard, everything we need. After overcoming a bunch of difficulties and making arrangements, we secured it. Since I don't have immediate plans for adoption yet, with a ton of paperwork and years of planning ahead, we turned the extra room into our office/gaming hub. We both work at the same place, not entirely on purpose, they were hiring, and we both needed visas. As proud first-time homeowners, we posted pictures. Her ex, who by this point has been MIA for 3 years, messaged her, expressing excitement about moving into the new house. She informed him that this was her house with me and my parents. He suggested that, since they were a couple, she should ask me and my parents to leave so he could move in. I want to point out that my parents bought the house. My friend and I will pay them our portions over the years. If she decides to move out, I'll finish paying and buy her share. This is all documented and signed. So she promptly told him he was not moving in with us and reminded him that he ghosted her, so there was no relationship. He went on a tirade, claiming he never broke up with her, accusing her of abandoning him, asserting that she never cared about him, etc. I got pissed off, took the phone from her, and told him he could live in a bear cave for all I care, but to leave my friend in our house alone. He went ballistic and began using derogatory language, which would probably get this post flagged, so I'll leave it to your imagination. My friend started crying, and I was absolutely done with him. I never thought he was abusive, but my friend confessed to me that this was not new. He always had issues with the two of us living together and accused her often of cheating on him with me. We ended the call, and I told her she needed to block him for her own sanity's sake. She deserved so much better than this man-child. She helped me leave my abusive ex when I was in high school. She took me to the hospital when he beat me up and called my parents. My friend is family, and I'll be dead before I let some low-life scum with commitment issues make her suffer. Since then, he's launched a major campaign in our friend group, stating that my friend abandoned him and left him homeless, claiming he canceled his lease after he saw we bought a house. He also alleges that we're Satanists who probably abuse our pets and mooch off my parents. Most of my friends know the story and are aware that my friend and I moved in together initially out of necessity, and we simply can't envision not living together. So yeah, my friend's ex is a nutcase, and if he ever gets close to her again, I will personally give him a free vasectomy. Update 1. Hey everyone, a quick update, as some people ask if our friends knew where the ex was hiding for 3 years, and I was genuinely curious. Since I was down for the count at work today, I had time to check with my friends and find out more. Apparently, my bestie did ask them, but they didn't know. From what they tell me, he kinda got back into everyone's life in the last year or so, but he was part of the group because they were my bestie's friends, not really his. I don't personally know many of his own friends, to be fair. I did track down the ex's sister thanks to social media, and poked her for info. She's very nice and always treated my bestie right. I told her what her brother did, and her response was very interesting. Apparently, the ex was dating other girls until his parents decided to move outside the US. Now he's living on a friend's couch, The last she heard was a couple of days ago when they went out for coffee. He was saying he got this brand new house and was going to be moving in this week. As far as she knew, my bestie begged him to take her back and let her live in his house. I did correct her and said that no, bestie is living with me and my parents, in our new house. Her reaction was, of course he lied, and just thanked me for letting her know he was full of BS. Aside from that, I do want to report we are safe. He doesn't know where we live, and most people don't because we're not really ready to open Pandora's box and have friends come over. We also need time to figure out who we want in the know. We won't be going to the police unless something serious happens just because this is technically not a crime, but we are going to keep recordings and print text conversations. If he tries anything, we have all our papers in order, and just in case, I plan to contact our company's HR so they know the situation. The company we work for can provide us free legal counsel if things get bad. Update 2. Well, it seems I'm stuck in a saga now. Once again, I have full permission from my friend to share this. For a bit, it was actually pretty calm. She did cut contact and block him, as many suggested, and between the two of us, my bestie and I did some culling in our friend group of people we knew were passing information to her ex. We've settled into the new house together, and she actually gets along better with my parents sometimes than I do. I guess she's the golden child now. Sadly, eventually, we had to do adult stuff and get some much-needed food. We went to Walmart in town together, and by some bad luck, we crossed paths with her ex. I wish all of it was just awkward glances and each on their way. But no, at first, he tried to talk to her. My friend said she didn't want to speak to him and didn't want him near her. I mostly reminded him I wanted to rip his spine and beat him with it. Sadly, that didn't deter him from following us around like the most obnoxious toilet paper stuck to a shoe. We did our shopping and headed to the car with him still after us. I told my friend to get into the car, start the gear, and lock it while I loaded the groceries. Her ex then decided to appeal to me to talk to my friend about taking him back. I don't know what power held me back from committing a felony, but I'm pretty sure I've earned a PhD in self-control. I told him, in no uncertain terms, where he could put his reconciliation, and that if he kept following us, I would make sure his legs were out of the equation. I got in the car, and my friend began driving back when we noticed a car following us. We knew it was following because the direction we were going was not usual. To rule out a possible neighbor, we actually did a full U-turn, almost back to the store, stopped to get some fast food, ate in the parking lot, and then headed back home. The same car was still following us. Now, as much as I talk of violence, I have to admit I was terrified, and so was my friend. Neither of us has a gun permit, the best we carry is a can of pepper spray. And we know her ex does have guns. So yeah, we were not comfortable at that point. Instead, we headed past our neighborhood. Following the usual advice from TV, we drove to a police station. Once there, we wrote a statement, and I got scolded about the confrontation in Walmart's parking lot. The reason we know it's her ex was that when we got home, she received a call from him with a new phone number, saying, "I know where you live now." We immediately called the police. So that's where we stand. The cops just left a few minutes ago, and my brother is going to be staying over for a few weeks until we get the restraining order and some sturdier locks. Also, I want to clarify a few things. Many people ask why it took my friend a whole year of being ghosted to accept the relationship was over. While I understand the curiosity, please recognize that when my friend came to the US, she had no one. She cut contact with her toxic family, and her ex was the only person she had. I moved to the US a year later, also coming alone at first, but I had the support of my parents who became citizens. When her relationship ended, she not only lost her boyfriend but also his family, who were essentially as close to her as her own family. It's not easy, and I personally can't imagine how lonely she felt. I could spend Christmas with my parents, while she had no one for that first year. So please, don't judge her for it, as she doesn't deserve it. It's not easy to be an immigrant when you have no place to return to.